As much as I love developing with React, there's one bug that keeps popping up and annoying me every time, and that's the closure trap in React. This is what I want to talk about in this video. Let's go! If you have any experience of developing functional components in React, you will probably be familiar with this problem. You're in a function and you want to access a state variable, but instead of getting the current value of that variable, you get an old one. Let's look at an example to illustrate this. I have a very simple React project with a component that contains a button, and when you click it, it increments a counter variable. In addition, on the first render of the component, I register a key press handler on the window that simply logs the pressed key and then the current counter value to the console. What could possibly go wrong, right? Well, you already know the answer. It does not output the correct counter value, but always 0. The problem is that we are referring to an outdated value of the state variable in our event handler function. In this case, we can solve the problem quite easily. We simply specify the counter variable in the effect hooks dependency array, which causes the event handler to be re-registered every time the state variable changes. And we see that the problem is solved. To solve this completely according to the textbook, we would actually have to specify the handler function in the dependency array instead of the state variable, and then use the callback hook to ensure that this function is only recreated when the value of the counter state variable changes. This is only mentioned for the sake of completeness. But why exactly does this problem occur? I have to admit that it took me some time to fully understand what the problem was, and now I know that it is actually quite simple. Let's take a quick look at what a functional React component actually is. As the name suggests, it's simply a function that is called by the React infrastructure whenever the state of the component changes, or the parent component changes. So every update of the component is a call to our function. And every time a function is called, all the variables and functions it contains are also regenerated. In our example, this means that the variable counter, the function setCounter, the function keyPressHandler and the function buttonClickHandler are created each time the component is updated. In other words, the variable counter from the first call is different from the variable counter from the second call, which is different from the variable counter from the third call, and so on. This is not React specific, or not even JavaScript specific. It's just the way how functions work. Using the useState hook, React makes sure that the correct value is written to the variable each time it is updated. The point is now, if at any point, let's say at the very beginning when we first render, when our component function is called for the first time, we define a function that refers to a state variable, the net function will forever refer to that variable from that one function call, and of course its value will never change. How could it? We define counter as a constant. When the value of the state variable is reset by the state setting function, our component function is called again and the counter variable is created anew. The old counter variable still exists with the old value. So it can happen quite quickly that you run into this problem, but most of the time it can be solved quite easily, as we have seen before. But sometimes it can happen that it's not so simple. For example, if we are working with a third-party library, it may not be so easy to re-register the callback function every time the state variable changes. This is where refs can often help. To show this, I reset the sample project to the non-functioning version. Our effect hook has now specified an empty dependency array again. We simply define a ref of the same type as the state variable. Using an effect hook that specifies the state variable in the dependency array, each time the value of the state variable changes, we write that new value into the ref. In the callback function, we then use the ref instead of the state variable. This works because the ref object remains the same instance for the lifetime of the component, only the current property is changed. And with this solution, our example also works as expected. Well, what do you think of the closure trap in React? Do you often have this problem? How do you solve it? Feel free to let me know in the comments, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for watching this video. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this in the future. See you next time.